A janitor was simply cleaning the police station when he accidentally discovered an error in the evidence. He casually corrected a notation in the case file, which sent Detective Stark into a rage. Fortunately, the station had security cameras, and Morgan's modification of the case file was caught on tape. When brought to the station, Morgan innocently claimed he was just helping them fix a mistake. Stark was furious. He'd been a cop for decades and wasn't about to be schooled by a janitor. But Chief May ignored his anger and instead pulled out the case photos, asking Morgan to explain himself right then and there. Morgan pointed to details in the photo, noting that glue residue on the chair indicated the killer had used tape to bind someone. But since the victim showed no signs of being tied up, it could only mean the wife had been bound. The real killer was someone else entirely. This reasoning was flawless. Even Stark, with his decades of experience, couldn't find fault with it, but he wanted to wait for lab results to confirm. Just as he finished speaking, his subordinate reported that surveillance footage indeed showed a third person had been at the scene. Although Morgan's deduction was correct, he had violated protocol, so Stark still threw him in a holding cell. However, Chief May knew deep down that the police had gotten it wrong from the start. Stark had no choice but to reluctantly reopen the case from scratch. Meanwhile, after being released, Morgan encountered the victim's daughter. Looking at the photo of her missing mother on the phone, Morgan decided to help. Chief May also came over with an offer. If Morgan could find the missing victim's wife, all his fines and detention would be waived. After some negotiation, Morgan agreed, not because he feared the penalty, but because he wanted to help the girl who had lost both parents. With Morgan joining the task force, Stark led the team to investigate at the victim's sister Layla's house. Morgan fiddled with the decorative items and books on the table, noticing they didn't match the decor style. Combined with the biology papers on the desk, he quickly determined this woman was suspicious. Stark was annoyed. Morgan was just a consultant with no interrogation authority. Besides, Layla had been attending a biology symposium on the day of the incident and had an alibi. Morgan was so frustrated he didn't want to speak. So he disguised himself as a janitor and infiltrated the company, where he found the crucial clue, a letter that was actually a suicide note from one of missing victim Jean's clients. As a lawyer, Jean had been handling a sexual assault lawsuit for this person, and the defendant was none other than Layla's boyfriend, Ralph. This proved Morgan's suspicion that Layla was indeed problematic. The two went to the crime scene, where Morgan pointed out the key evidence. Remember the photo from 3 days before the incident on Jean's daughter's phone? The flowers were still fresh, but in the police photos they had already wilted. This type of flower stays fresh for 4 to 5 days. The truth came to light. Layla had originally tried to persuade her sister to drop the case, but was refused. In desperation, she grabbed a hunting rifle, which accidentally discharged and hit her brother-in-law. To delay the court hearing and save her boyfriend, she had to tie up her sister first. As a biologist, Layla knew exactly how to manipulate the time of the incident. Jean had installed temperature control devices for planting palm trees. By remotely raising the indoor temperature for a period and then adjusting it back, she could throw off the medical examiner's estimation of time of death, creating an alibi. As for where Jean was being held, Morgan thought of the basement rental ad at Layla's house. The most dangerous place is the safest. Police quickly mobilized and indeed found the bound Jean in the basement.